Welcome back to WD.
FM, the official Walt Disney Family Museum podcast. We're your hosts, Bri Bertolacini, Content and Research Manager.
And Chris Mullen, Marketing and Editorial Specialist at the Walt Disney Family Museum.
Well, Happy New Year, Chris. Happy 2025. I know it's a little late for that, almost the end of the month, but it's never too late.
It's still the new year. Actually, in my heart, it is still Christmas. So Happy New Year, Bri. We're kicking off 2025 with some updates. Our resolution this year is to bring you more frequent episodes of WDFM. To do that, we're going to be doing more mini episodes sprinkled throughout the month that vary from museum updates, our collections clash, and other mini-sodes that cover different various topics of Walt's life and career, and some occasional interviews. So it'll be fun to kind of play around with the form a little bit.
Yeah, we want to thank you all for your support of WDFM throughout the years. So hopefully you'll hear from us a little bit more frequently this year. We love putting together this podcast, and it is definitely a labor of love. So I'm looking forward to spending more time with you all.
Absolutely. Same here. And this episode, we'll be highlighting some of the new and exciting updates happening at the Walt Disney Family Museum. So, Bri, kick us off. What's going on at the museum this month?
Well, first up, experience a New Year's transformation and join us in celebrating our latest special exhibition, Directing at Disney, with a month-long screening of Walt Disney's The Sword in the Stone, based on T.H. White's classic retelling of the King Arthur story, directed by Disney legend Wolfgang, or Woolie, Reitherman. On Sundays in January, we'll be offering an additional screening for the film as a sensory-friendly film experience. So to make this film a more comfortable experience for all, lights will be dimmed instead of off, volume will be slightly lowered, and closed captioning will be turned on. So guests are welcome to get up, walk around, sing, dance, and enjoy the film in whatever way is most comfortable for them. So visit our calendar for showtimes.
Yeah, with Sword in the Stone, I'm really enjoying being able to walk through our Directing at Disney special exhibition and then take a few steps into the theater to watch the iconic films directed by these greats. Speaking of this month's film, Woolie Reitherman's journey from animating to directing to taking the helm on animated films following Walt's passing is just fascinating.
Well, Chris, let's talk about it a little bit. Woolie started at the Disney Studios as an animator in 1933. And during World War II, he joined the Army Air Force's pilots. He flew the treacherous route from India to China, that's known as the Hump. And then after the war, Woolie and his wife Janie even considered starting an airline company in the Philippines. Luckily, Walt persuaded the Reithermans to stay in California, really paving the way for Woolie's return to animation.
And we're all the richer for it. Reitherman felt like this break from the studio was important so he could remain enthusiastic and committed to his work at the Disney studio. When he returned, he became a directing animator on films like Fun and Fancy Free, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, and Lady and the Tramp. So essentially every animated film in the 1950s. It wasn't until Sword in the Stone that Woolie was given the reins as the solo director. And what's interesting about how the animated films were being made at the time, even with Woolie at the helm, it was the directing animators that had more control over their own sequences than the director of the film. Even with a team of top Disney animators, the film was not popular with critics or audiences. But I would dare to say that in more recent years, more respect has been put on Sword in the Stone's name. Would you concur, Bri?
Yes, I would. Sword in the Stone is definitely a superior film. So even if they didn't appreciate it then, we're still appreciating it now. And that definitely shouldn't deter you from seeing this film this month in our theater. It's really interesting to see Woolie's directing vision in Sword of the Stone and compare that to his next film, The Jungle Book. And you can really see how he grew as a director and in his focus of the characters, kind of in contrast. He had kind of commented that he felt like the character's strength in Sword of the Stone wasn't as great and it was more about the story. And so you can see that really flipped in The Jungle Book, where the characters, each individual character is so identifiable. And yeah, so that's really interesting. And after Walt's death, Reitherman continued working at the studio, where he directed films like The Aristocats, Robin Hood, and The Rescuers until his retirement in 1981.
What a career. Now, research was pulled from the book Directing at Disney, the original directors of Walt's animated films by Don Perry and Pete Docter. our exhibition co-curators, which you can purchase in our online store. And you can see the companion exhibition that we have on display now through March 16th in our lower lobby. The exhibition is free to view to the public.
So speaking of Woolie Reitherman, we're not done yet talking about him. We recently announced an upcoming in-person program highlighting his career as a director on Saturday, February 22nd. Now, this exclusive talk will be given by Woolie's sons, Bruce and Robert Reitherman, to talk about their father's work, legacy, and lasting impact, along with their own involvement in the feature films that he directed. So as kids, their father pulled them into some projects. Bob was a live-action reference model for Sword in the Stone, and Bruce provided his voice for Mowgli in The Jungle Book and Christopher Robin in Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree.
And I mean, if you see him today, Bob is just the spitting image of that sword that was pulled out of the stone. So that was really great work done by him. No, obviously he was not the reference for the sword. Our next newly announced program, join us on Saturday, March 22nd for an in-person talk with Disney legend Martha Blanding and author Tim O'Day for a discussion of the recent release of Groundbreaking Magic, a Black woman's journey through the happiest place on Earth. Groundbreaking Magic tells the story of how Blanding became the first Black tour guide at Disneyland in 1971 and went on to work at the Walt Disney Company for half a century and earned the Disney Legend distinction in 2024.
That'll be a very exciting talk. Can't wait for that one. And another talk you'll want to mark your calendars for is Directing at Disney, in conversation with Academy Award, BAFTA, and Golden Globe winning director Brenda Chapman. Chapman will share insights and stories from her impressive career with Mindy Johnson, a prominent expert on women in early animation.
And in case you need a refresher on Brenda Chapman, we certainly don't here because we love Brenda Chapman on this podcast. She served as head of story, the first woman to do so for an animated film for The Lion King back in 1994. While at DreamWorks Animation, she became the first female director for an animated feature by a major studio with her co-direction of Academy Award-winning film The Prince of Egypt. Then, if that history wasn't enough, she became the first woman to win an Oscar for Best Animated Feature for Pixar's Brave. Now, this in-person program will be on Saturday, March 15th. Visit our calendar to get your tickets.
No matter where you are on your journey to making the next Prince of Egypt or Brave, if you're interested in learning some animation principles and techniques, try out one of our Studio Series workshops. These are 90-minute sessions available for both youth and adults, and some classes are offered in person or virtually. Some topics include learning how to animate a director, magical carriage, a puppet coming to life, the act of growing and shrinking, a magic staff, animated pop dance, and a fall.
Animate a puppet coming to life. I feel like Disney should make a movie about that. Going further on more workshops that we're offering, for fans of Sip and Paint workshops, join us for our brand new series, Sip and Sketch. Join us in our art studio where you can enjoy evening cocktails and follow along as our education staff teaches you step by step how to sketch or paint different animation-related scenes. Upcoming workshops include sketching loving cartoon gestures, painting whimsical flowers, and drawing fun rubber hose characters.
We also have some in-person free activities in our Learning Center on various Fridays and Saturdays. So pop in to explore your imagination. Dates, times, and age groups do vary. So visit our website to learn more about our art playground and artist studio. Our upcoming art playground will be celebrating Lunar New Year, Friday, January 31st, and Saturday, February 1st. Children ages 3 to 6 will be taught some simple art techniques so they can create their own Lunar New Year items.
And that brings us to the end of this Museum Updates episode. Visit our calendar for links to all the programs, workshops, and films we chatted about today at waltdisney.org/calendar. If you want to be one of the first people to hear about these exciting events, sign up for our email newsletter. Scroll down to the very bottom of any page on the Walt Disney Family Museum's website to sign up.
Thanks for tuning in to WD-FM, the official Walt Disney Family Museum podcast. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on all social channels at WDF Museum for all the latest updates.
Pull the sword from the stone and keep moving forward.
Bye. Bye.